Now we go on to the next speaker. This is Rushan Abbas, born, raised, and attended the university in Urumchi, the capital city of East Turkistan, Xinjiang. Rushan, will you please come onto the stage? Rushan has been an activist since the days of university, where she co-organized pro-democracy protests in the mid and late 80s. Since coming to the US in 89, she has been a tireless advocate for Uyghur rights. After Beijing accelerated the genocidal policies in East Turkistan, in 2017 she established the campaign For Uyghurs to advocate for her people among the government officials and lawmakers, interfaith organizations, universities and think tanks, as well as grassroots movements. In September 2018, her own sister, Gulshan Abbas, was abducted by the Chinese regime and illegally sentenced to prison in retaliation for Rushan's activism. Can we have some silence there? Carl, can we take him outside and talk outside? I'll repeat that. This is very important because in September 2018, her own sister, Dr. Gulshan Abbas, was abducted by the Chinese government and illegally sentenced to prison in retaliation for Rushan's activism. Today, she continues to advocate for the freedom of millions of Uyghurs, as delivering remarks at national and international forums and conventions like this one. She frequently testifies in Congress briefs, advises on policy and legislative response. Her writings have been featured in a lot of media outlets, including Washington Post and USA Today, The Hill magazine, etc. She received the Freedom Fighter 2019 award for her work raising awareness on the current Uyghur genocide. She is from Virginia, and 2 US lawmakers recently nominated her organization, Campaign for Uyghurs, as one of the 2 Uyghur rights organizations for this year's Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, I will stop here with her introduction, and I'll request you, Rushan, just primarily, since we have already heard, a lot about the Uyghur genocide from Elfidar in very great detail. She has done a very great job of presenting the overview. Can we just save a little bit of time, since we are running late, by focusing on the areas which are different from what Elfidar told us, so that we are not repeating the same points again. So I would request you for that, and to limit your comments to about 12 minutes or so. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, I'm not going to repeat the important parts that Elfidar already covered. And she did an amazing job describing everything. I'm just going to talk about the human cost connected to this genocide and the reasons why we are not hearing a lot, which connected to the companies and the country's complicity in the Uyghur forced labor. As you look at those pictures, those are the pictures from the inside of the camps. And these are not only fathers and husbands and brothers, but they are also, as Elfidar mentioned, thought leaders, religious scholars, famous writers. How do I move to next? And those pictures are not from the World War II or from some fiction movies. Those are the reality. The Uyghurs are blindfolded and they haul over to the train, as you see the right side of the picture, and moved out as criminals or as slaves. And those are the pictures of real human beings. That's one of the last leak from Xinjiang police files. And you see 60, 70 years old grandmas and grandpas and young teenagers, 14, 15, 16 years old. And one thing I noticed when we were displaying those in front of the United Nations in Geneva last July, when China went through Universal Periodic Review, most of those young girls and the boys, when the Xinjiang police files leaked the information, not just their names and their sex or when they were detained is being disclosed, but also their blood type. The older generations or the older ones who are over 50, 60 years old, you don't see that blood type listed. The reason for that is those Uyghurs are being the victims for forceful organ harvesting. By the end of 2016, before the mass detention in 2017, the Uyghurs went through mandatory health check and the DNA collections. And we were wondering, what is this for? And the Uyghurs in diaspora, we couldn't figure out why all of a sudden the Chinese government is collecting everybody's DNA samples. We thought that they are maybe making some sort of biological weapon against Uyghurs. But later, we started to see mass transportation of live organ that's being collected from the organ of the, places like Kashgar and the most Uyghurs populated area. The airports dedicated special lane for Uyghurs. For organ transportation. And also in some of the Arabic countries, some Muslim majority countries, we were seeing videos promoting halal organs. As Al-Fidar mentioned, the genocide was determined by previous administration and also confirmed with this administration. And plus 11 countries and parliaments around the world determined that what's happening to Uyghurs are active, full-fledged active genocide. If you look at the United Nations, the crime of genocide description, there are 5 elements. If there's one happening, you can call it genocide. The UN's report, UN Human Rights Council's Uyghur report, states everything we have been saying for years, which matches at least 4 out of 5 elements of the crime of description of the crimes of genocide. While the Chinese government is spreading lies and propaganda and saying that this is national security issue for China, those detentions, and one of the former Chinese ambassador to United States said that the Uyghurs are being basically with those mass detention, with re-education, they are trying to make Uyghur people are normal persons. So because of the language we speak, because of the culture that we are proud of, because of the religion we practice, in front of the Chinese communist regime, we are not even normal human beings. That picture in the middle, 88 years old grandma, she is taken away from her home because she had a copy of Quran and she was praying. And the guy on the left, she's a pop star, known as Justin Bieber of the Uyghurs. And he disappeared as well in 2016, 2017. We don't know where he is. And that picture in the bottom, ordinary people's lives, daily lives, they're being guarded like a war zone because every single Uyghur being treated as a criminal. Because our ethnic identity, just being Uyghur, became criminalized. Our culture is being stigmatized. And they're attacking the faith, religion, as a mental disease and burning all the Uyghur books and the Uyghur traditional religious and cultural books and the materials. And the mosques are demolished. Like Carmela was saying, the thousands of years old ancient churches are being demolished. Those are too. The ancient mosques are being either demolished or converted to bar or nightclubs. And some more pictures of this beautiful mosque being converted to dancing club. My husband's entire family went missing summer of 2017. And my parents-in-laws, my sister-in-law, their husbands, my brother-in-law and his wife, and 14 of their children, 24 people went missing. And my father-in-law's death, we learned August 2016, last year, that he died in January last year. So after 7 years, his son learned that his father died in today's information era. So when I talked about my in-laws' detention and the China's genocidal policies at Hudson Institute in Washington, D.C. in 2018, my own sister, a retired medical doctor, she was taken. 6 years now that she is in jail. And her crime is being an Uyghur and being my sister. So basically today, I am speaking to you, and I'm doing my advocacy at the cost of my sister's freedom, just to silence me, someone who's living in the United States since 1989. And I became a US citizen in 1995. Yet, my First Amendment right in the United States cost my sister's freedom. She's a retired medical doctor. Well, the Uyghurs are being used as slaves, and that's the reason that the Chinese government is silencing many of the countries and many of the world leaders. The Chinese government is making this genocide a profitable venture for China, and as well as bribing many of the Hollywood celebrities or famous talk show hosts or journalists or academics and the world leaders. When everybody is so vocal against any kind of social injustice, rightfully that's good, they should. But where are they when the government is state-sponsored mass rape, making Uyghur women's bodies on the battleground of this genocide, taking Uyghur children, conducting full-fledged active genocide against the one ethnicity. And this is unseen since the World War II. Mass incarceration of one ethnic group. Where are those famous voices? Where are the NBA stars? Where are the famous CEO and the company owners who are woke? Well, when the perpetrator has the money and the power, they all stay quiet. There are two types of the Uyghur forced labor. One is the people are in detention camps, what you have seen through Al-Fidar's presentation earlier. The other one are they're just ordinary people. They are taken in the fake, the pretext of China's poverty alleviation. These people are university presidents, university professors, famous writers, doctors, engineers, graduate students. They don't need a factory jobs to make the shirt on your back or the Nike shoes on your foot. Need to speed up a little bit, I guess. More information on the forced labor, and most of the companies using the Uyghurs as slaves for their supply chains. And now we are on the last stage of the genocide after several years. Denial. The Chinese government is spending a huge amount of money and the efforts to show the Uyghurs are dancing happily, they are the happy people, there is no genocide. Denial of genocide also comes with the using all the spreading massive disinformation on all the social media, as well as the one on the right. I want you to read that. After the Uyghur birth rate dropped down to 0% in some of the majority Uyghur populated areas, most of the Uyghur girls are forcibly sterilized. The Chinese embassy in the United States publicly congratulated those efforts, and they tweeted, said, the Uyghur women in Xinjiang were emancipated and gender equality and reproductive health were promoted. and making them no longer baby-making machines. And if you Google that, you can find that it was deleted later because the Uyghurs protested, but it picked up by many mainstream media. And we're all complicit. Our Western, not just companies, but even Microsoft. If you Google Uyghur in the United States, you get the real news. But if you put, if you Google in China or put VPN in one of the Chinese cities, you get all the China's propaganda. So I'm going to show this picture a little bit graphic. Rahmatullah Sherbaqi, 2 years old. His parents were taken to the camps, and he was in the custody of his grandparents. And he walked out and fell into the big river, and he was frozen to death. People, the Uyghurs, under so much surveillance, they risked their lives to get this picture out to diaspora. And we have tried everything we can to post on social media. It didn't pick up any attention. If you recall, one Syrian boy's body in Turkish beach in 2015, and that changed a lot. It was viral in the media, on social media. But so many little kids like Rahmatullah Sherbaqi drowned to death and killed on the streets, and many, many unknown deaths, unreported.
Rushan, we'll have to conclude in a
Yes.
minute.
We have two important legislation sitting in the Senate that we need your support. Please contact your Congress, your representatives, ask them to support the Uyghur Policy Act, and also support the Uyghur Genocide Accountability and Sanctions Act. And also we have established Congressional Uyghur Caucus. Ask your representatives to join that Congressional Uyghur Caucus and be the voice for the voiceless, as you mentioned. And follow us on social media, educate yourself so you can educate people around you. Follow us on social media and go to our website and sign up for our mailing list so you can receive updates. So I'm open to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rushan. Big round of applause.